Alright guys, in today's video we have some very interesting PS5 news to go over and talk about. We just recently learned that Spider-Man as a playable character will be exclusive to the PlayStation platform for the upcoming Marvel's Avengers game, and this has caused a lot of people who are not PlayStation owners, I would assume, to get very upset and kind of complain and just not be very happy about this news at all. And what's interesting is we are hearing from I guess you could call them an insider or somebody who would know. They're claiming that people need to kind of brace themselves because apparently Sony has a lot more third-party deals that they're going to be announcing and revealing over the course of the next year. And some of these deals are going to really upset some people. They're calling it a marathon of announcements. So yeah, I find this very interesting because it really is starting to seem like Sony is absolutely not messing around here when it comes to giving people a reason to look at their platform over the competition and consider it in the form of exclusive deals, not just from their first-party studios. And these deals, based off of what I'm hearing, are not really that small. Like, these are not just like small deals. These are pretty significant. So we're going to talk a little bit about that because I think that it may kind of be a little bit of a warning to Xbox and PC users, or basically anybody who isn't playing on the PlayStation platform. We're also talking a little bit about backwards compatibility with the PS5, more specifically PS4 titles, as there has always been a little bit of confusion surrounding this, understandably so, where people are trying to figure out, so can I just play any PS4 title on the PS5, or do they need to be, certified by Sony first, right? Like, is there just going to be like a small list that continues to grow over time, or am I just going to be able to play any PS4 title? We have some information that seems to confirm, if it is to be believed, that you can play just literally any PS4 title out of the gate, but Sony is trying to go above and beyond here to ensure manually that none of these games have any serious issues, and if they do, they will be sorted out and corrected. But that does not mean that you have to wait on Sony to play these games. So it's very interesting, and I think it's definitely worth talking about because, as I said, there are some people who are just pretty confused about what exactly we can expect when it comes to PS4 games on PS5. So this is what we're talking about. I do want to let you know that tomorrow I will be live streaming the State of Play here on the channel. We've been doing this all throughout the year, and honestly, it's a blast every time. I really enjoy streaming these events live with you guys. It's always a really good time, so hopefully you'll show up for that. I know it's not going to be related to the PS5, but apparently Sony has a lot to reveal and show, so I'm excited for it. I hope to see you there. But diving into this first topic here, it says, yesterday we saw what was some good news for some when it was announced that Spider-Man would be joining the roster of Square Enix's Marvel's Avengers next year. I say some because when it was announced it would be exclusive to the PlayStation versions of the game, meaning Xbox and PC players will be locked out of playing the character. As with any exclusive deals, that obviously makes those primarily playing on other systems less than happy. Well, buckle in because apparently it's just the beginning. Kinda Funny's Emran Khan took to the popular Reset Era gaming forum in regards to a topic on the above-mentioned Spider-Man deal. Spoiler, it was not a happy topic. In this post, he said that people really should be ready and conserve their energy at being mad, because if you're upset now, over the course of the next year, you're going to be seeing a lot of similar deals from Sony. So this is what he said. My hypothesis is that Sony isn't leveraging ownership of Spider-Man, which they do not have, to keep him an exclusive character. More likely, it is that Avengers is a AAA game on competing platforms, and Sony threw a bunch of money to keep the AAA Spider-Man realm associated with PlayStation consoles. The fact that this is a game as a service that is backwards compatible with getting a next-gen update for PS5 means they expect people to buy it and base some degree of next-generation console purchasing decisions on that friends list and purchase. If you guys are mad about this, I suggest saving some energy because the next year will be a marathon of getting upset. When asked by another user if he meant exclusive deals from both Microsoft and Sony would be making people upset, he said he was not familiar with what Microsoft was doing and was referring to Sony, saying, "I know Sony is doing this a lot." Now, what makes this even more interesting is it almost sounds like he's making it seem as though it's going to be smaller deals, which I don't doubt. I assume that we're going to see a lot of different third-party deals from Sony, similar to what we're seeing with Spider-Man here in the future, but it seems like there may be some bigger deals as well that just kind of, I don't know, man, really serve to upset Xbox and PC players, as, you know, right after kind of getting this information from Imran Khan, we're now hearing that apparently Final Fantasy XVI will have some type of PlayStation 5 exclusivity, and the game apparently was supposed to be revealed in June, and this could very well be one of the titles that Sony kind of held back to save as an announcement. It says here, Final Fantasy XVI is going to have some kind of PS5 exclusivity, according to rumors circulating online. Reset Era Forums member Navtra recently revealed that Final Fantasy XVI is currently in development and that it was supposed to be revealed during the PS5 Future of Gaming event in June. The game, which is apparently closer to release than people think, will have some sort of PS5 exclusivity. Final Fantasy XVI is real. It was supposed to get announced in June's event. It's supposedly closer than most people would think. It has some kind of PS5 exclusivity. It was vague back then, but it seems to be more fully timed exclusivity now, and I have no idea why they haven't announced it yet. While all that Navtra said regarding Final Fantasy XVI could be fake, there are a few things that suggest that the user could be reliable. First, he correctly revealed the Future of Gaming event lineup before it aired, and even talked about Marvel's Avengers PlayStation exclusive DLC before the official announcement was made yesterday. Second, the user has been verified by the Reset Era staff member Transistor, who confirmed that Navtra has knowledge on such subjects. A timed PS5 exclusivity for Final Fantasy XVI wouldn't be all that surprising, considering Final Fantasy VII Remake was exclusive to the PS4, at least for the first year. So, yeah, again, the timing of all this is very interesting, guys. We've heard about Final Fantasy, you know, in the past, or at least Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. We've been hearing that apparently that is kind of entering full production, and I think it's safe to say that will most likely be an exclusive, a timed exclusive anyway, for 1 year. Now we're hearing Final Fantasy XVI. This is on top of all of the rumors circulating about Silent Hill. Now, if Silent Hill is real based off of the rumors, it seems less likely it will be a timed exclusivity and more along the lines of something like a full exclusive game. I've heard rumors about Street Fighter 6. I don't know if those are true or not. I've heard rumors about Metal Gear Solid. Again, I would love for those to be true. I don't know if they're true, but guys, one thing that's becoming very clear to me is that Sony is absolutely just not messing around, and they do not care what Microsoft's stance is with third-party exclusive content. They simply don't care. They do not care about the backlash either. Why should they? It's frankly not their problem. And I understand that not everybody agrees with that mentality, but you just have to understand that this is part of the business. It always has been, and I believe always will be, regardless of what Microsoft decides to do or how progressive they try to be in kind of breaking down these, you know, anti-consumer practices, as some people may see them. But I can't fault Sony for wanting to do stuff like this, even when it comes to smaller stuff like Spider-Man or bigger things like Final Fantasy XVI, potentially, because it's like they want to give people a real reason, not just something that's surface level, but something that's actually pretty tangible, to go out there and consider buying a PS5 and consider the PlayStation ecosystem over the competition's ecosystem. And while some people may look at it as a cheap way of doing so, I don't know. It seems to be pretty effective. If you look at the Amazon bestsellers after that Spider-Man announcement, it seems like Avengers, at least on the PlayStation 4 version, shot up to the top. So it's effective, it works, and you can't blame Sony for wanting to continue to do it. But I do find these comments incredibly interesting and telling, because Imran Khan from Kinda Funny Games is saying, look, if you're upset about the Spider-Man thing, you need to buckle in, because it's only going to get worse for you. And as I said before, guys, I think your best bet would be to consider investing into a PlayStation 5 if you are considering a next generation console, or at the very least consider picking up a PS4. But moving on from that and finishing off this video, I want to talk about the idea of all PS4 games being playable on the PS5 without any approval needed from Sony. So it says here, after largely ignoring the feature for a couple of generations, Sony is once again pushing backward compatibility heavily for the upcoming PS5. That said, it isn't entirely clear how extensive backwards compatibility will be. Sony has said most of the PS4's top games will be supported, but hasn't promised you'll be able to pop in just any PS4 game into your PS5 and play. Outside of the very top PS4 games, we will have to wait for Sony to test and whitelist titles before we can play them. Thankfully, it sounds like that won't be the case. Popular streamer Lance McDonald, who seems to have some inside connections at Sony, recently posted a clarification about PS5 backwards compatibility. He's since taken the tweet down out of respect for the platform holder. Sounds like somebody may have yelled at him, but the internet never forgets. And here's what he said. There's been some confusion about this in the past, and I can clear it up now. The PlayStation 5 can run all PlayStation 4 games without pre-game whitelisting. Sony continues to test titles, but the system will not prevent you from launching untested games. Now, we do have to take this with a grain of salt, but the fact that it was taken down, in my opinion, is very telling. If he didn't have any type of connections, there would be no reason for him to take it down if he was just making it up. And I think this is really great news, and I had to add it to this video because while it may not be the most surprising to everybody, because there are people who are already expecting this, understandably so, when you hear that the PS5 is going to be backwards compatible with the PS4, I think it's perfectly fine to anticipate that you can just put in any PS4 game and it will work. That's the whole point of backwards compatibility. But we know that Sony did confirm they're, testing the top 100 games, and they're kind of not recertifying them, but just kind of like making sure everything runs as it's supposed to, and some games will get boosted. And this led some people to, be a little bit concerned. Like, are we going to have to kind of wait for Sony to give us the list of games and grow this list? And we just have to, if there's like a specific game you want to play on PS4 or PS5, I mean, that is a PS4 title, are you going to have to just wait around until Sony gets around to testing it before it will be playable on your PS5? Seems like that is not the case at all. You will just be able to play any PS4 game. The only thing about this when it comes to being able to launch any untested game is because it may be untested, there could potentially be a couple issues you run into that maybe were unforeseen, and this is why Sony is going back and manually testing all of them and trying to make sure that every game doesn't have any issues, or especially the popular games, they don't have any issues, because if they do, they want to contact the developer and the publisher and be like, hey, can we get this sorted out? Right? But I think that that's great news, really great news actually, and I hope that Sony comes out here and confirms this officially soon. I'm assuming the reason why Sony hasn't done this is because they don't want to push this just in case there are issues, right? Like, they don't want to just say, oh, every game is playable, and then we find out that people are playing these games and are like, what's wrong? It's not working correctly. There's issues. Again, Sony probably just feels more comfortable saying, hey, this is the massive list we've compiled and we're still working on other games, right? But that doesn't mean that your PS5 can't run PS4 games. It can natively, right? It just, again, you may run into some issues. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. Leave the video a like if you did enjoy it or found it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.